For our top franchise legal players series, we're talking with Cheryl Mullin, founding shareholder of Mullin PC. How are you, Cheryl?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It is so great to have you here. All right, let's kick it off. So if you could start off talk about how did you end up specializing in franchise law and what drew you to the field?
It was actually, I want to say, like a stroke of serendipity. When I graduated high school, I didn't know what I was going to do, trying to figure things out. And I ended up working at the 7-Eleven that was around the corner from my house. And two great things happened from that. My husband was working for the company at the time, and he was a field rep. But at the time, you had to work in the stores and you had to learn the system before you could go and counsel the other franchisees. So he was my manager. He taught me all about the system and franchising and, the 7-Eleven, just business operations. And fast forward a couple of years, I ended up going to college and going to law school and had an opportunity to work with someone who was a pioneer in the franchise industry. And my 7-Eleven experience came in handy. So that's how I was hired.
That's a great story. All right. So what do you think is the biggest legal hurdle facing the franchising industry in 2021 and looking ahead to 2022?
I think the joint employer and misclassification of employees isn't an issue that's going to go away. So, a lot of people know this, a lot of people don't, but our country was really founded on employer-based healthcare and retirement benefits. So at the beginning of World War II, President Roosevelt issued the Wage Stabilization Act, which to curb inflation, employers weren't allowed to give raises. So they started giving out these fringe benefits and giving retirement benefits because they were trying to attract and retain, their employees. And then in 1943, there was like a revenue act that made that not taxable income to the employee. So that was something that was like grounded in our system from the 1940s, and that didn't go away. So as a result, our society relies on employers to provide those benefits, and we're a lot different than, the Europe and all the industrial countries. So right now, we have this political movement, do we go with universal health care and take the burden off the employers, or do we have to make everything look like an employment situation because that's where people get their benefits? And, there's this tension right now that has to resolve itself, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon.
That's really interesting. That's a very good point. I like it. So what is the most common mistake that you see franchise brands making from a legal perspective?
I want to say documentation. So, I work with a lot of franchisors who are just getting started, and the franchisee isn't following the rules or isn't doing something right, and they want the legal letter. But really, the answer is documentation on the franchisor side. I mean, it starts with training. You want to document everything, all the onboarding process. You want to know if the franchisee has attended all the meetings, attended all the training. You want that picture of them when they finish training with the certificate and they're all happy and smiling. Because when something happens, we don't know what happened in the past. So we hear stories of, oh, this person didn't finish training, or, they never showed up at the meetings because nobody knew their name. But it's really important to have the documentation to be able to prove whether that person was there or wasn't there, received the information or didn't. So that would be my advice to franchisors.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what do you love about working with franchises?
I like the excitement. Like on the franchisor side, people are so in love with their brand, and when they franchise and bringing new people into the community, I love like when everybody gets together and just they are like a family. They fight like a family. They celebrate achievements like a family. So that's the part that I really like.
That's really cool. That's really well put. I like that. I haven't heard it like a family like that. That's great. So last question here. What is one thing that you think every prospective franchisee should know before joining a franchise brand?
It's all about the people. Obviously, the franchise agreements are written heavily in favor of the franchisor. So if you went to court, there aren't a lot of contractual commitments in the franchise agreement. But knowing who you're partnering with is really, really the key. You want to know what kind of support they provide. You want to know about their system. So doing your due diligence and talking to other franchisees and what their experience is the best thing that you can do when you're evaluating franchise systems.
Completely agree. All right. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I appreciate you talking with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Take care. Bye-bye.